and I'll explain.
Okay, so welcome everyone. So Charles just had a question about offset. So Emil, did you want to explain?
Yes, we have one project that's a difficult mapping. It's the on the western part of Tanzania, the refugee camp Naigarusu, and it has been mapped, but there are several issues. One is that the imagery that was used to originally map the project is different than the best imagery that we have now. The Maxar premium imagery is the best imagery in that area, and it does not align with the previous imagery that was used. So, and then additionally, there have been buildings that have been removed and new buildings that have been constructed. So it's a very difficult mapping, and it's also very dense. There's a high population in that area. And so it requires much more diligence and care to map properly. So one alternative is to use an image offset. And that I would suggest is not a very good idea because we do have better imagery. And then the other thing is to then requires that the buildings, the existing buildings that are traced be moved to align with the current imagery. If using ID, it's difficult because you have to use one polygon at a time. But using the JOSM editor, Java OpenStreetMap, it's easy to select many buildings and then shift 10 or 20 buildings all at once and align up to the current imagery. Then one can spot the buildings that have been removed and delete them, or add the buildings that have been added. In the case where there's both removed buildings and new buildings, I like to just move one of the polygons of the deleted buildings and move it to the area for a new building. And so then I'm not really deleting any work that has been done previously and just kind of repurposing the polygon. So that's a great question, Charles, about, because it's, or Stuart, sorry, it's a very difficult mapping and will take time. And so I think that would be a project where you would not want to spend a lot of time on it, just work on it occasionally and work on maybe some of our other projects that are more straightforward in the mapping. The key thing is that there are millions and millions of buildings that we have yet to trace, and no one individual can help that by working fast, because there's no group of people that come along and clean up poor mapping. And so it's best to take the time to map a building properly the first time, and then we don't have to worry about having issues later. So thank you all for your work.
Thank you, Emil. So Herry, I think you are going to share your screen and talk about some mapping issues and about Rovas. Is that right?
Yes, I'm going to start with Rovas because I've got so many questions there about Rovas. So I'm going to show them that, and then later we're going to talk about the challenge that they're facing when they're mapping. So yes, I hope you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe some of the people already used Rovas. They've got the message, like the one with the orange color here. So I mean, yellow, I guess. So you can see the message if it's require you to do some verification of the project that you've been contributed and other people have contributed. So you have to be very careful when opening this message. Maybe I'm starting with one to see how it looks like and how we can do verification on this. So let me open this. You can see here, actually, the person who mapped this is called Stewart 13. He spent like 6 hours and 58 minutes. And here is the, when I click this link, it's gonna open it on OSCM Shark. So let me open. I'm not really sure if people are familiar with using OSM Sharp, but you can also open this work by using JAWS. And when there is like, this is the one change that Stewart uploaded it. So just an overview of how OSM Sharp works. You can see it has, there are different colors, like you have dark blue, and you have this like a yellowish, and you have the red one. The red one represents the features that Stewart deleted them, and the yellow one represent the building that Stewart modified them, and that the blue ones represent the building that are new, are added, very new. So so the essence of this is just to spend your time on looking at the area if the area was really well mapped. Also, the challenge that you will be facing, you can find like the source of the map by the person used is a Maxa Premium, and you can see here on the map on the OSM Sharp, it is map box. It doesn't have an option of changing this background, say like image to Max Up Premium. So the best option that you can use, you just want to see if this person really mapped this area correctly, so that you can verify it on Rovas. But you verifying it on Rovas, it doesn't guarantee that this project is already verified or on that. So here it's just, you have to look at it as, is really this person spent the time mapping the whole area, this area correctly, and is their map really that correctly. So it's better if you see that you have the challenge of the building aligning with this, with the selected image on OSM chart, you have to open it by using JAWS. So I'm going to try to open them to see how it looks like. Okay, couple of seconds. Let me share my JAWS. Second. Okay. Yeah, I had another layer on this, that's why it's something like this, but let me try to remove. It's okay. Though we won't see very clearly, but I know because I've just used, there was another project in here, so it's really come like this. So when you look at the area that the person mapped, you can all see like the building really well aligned with the project. But one thing that we have to be very careful on looking, I have to remove this so that I can download it again. I'm sorry, because it doesn't look that clearly. So yeah, let me try again to open it again. Yeah, so right now it's looking very clearly. So yeah, you have to be very careful. Like you can see here for the person who mapped this area, I mean, you can see the area is well dense. So you have to be very careful when looking at the other person work and make sure that that person really spends some of their time mapping this. You have to be very careful looking at this when they are, you have to make sure like all features are well squared and everything. So yeah, I'm trying to look at it to see how it's well mapped and everything. If the features are really aligned with the satellite image, Yeah, so after looking at this, like I said, the first thing you have to pay attention on is to see if all features are really well squared and all the features that are mapped align with the buildings mapped, and all the area well mapped. That so I will go back to Rovas. This is Rovers. I mean, this is just one change set, which is this number, and I can say like, okay, I can go to Rovers and place on the verify. So I'm just verify that this is just this change set. If I want to check another change set, I will click on the downward change set and see, because there's a change set which are merged together because she mapped large area, so there are a lot of changes that he uploaded differently. That's why it's you have to select on other changes, another change set. So you can see here, as I mentioned, they are like this dark blue one and the yellow one and the red one. The red one is the one that have been deleted. The yellow one is the one that are modified, and the dark blue one is the one that are new. I mean, the new building that are added. The same thing, you can open this change set into a JSON and see how it's look like. Okay, so you can see here, like after I add, you can see here there is this kind of error, right? There is one building and another building are glued together, so you have to remove this. Like I'm going to click on the node that let's say this one, and I'm clicking on so I'm clicking this, and I'm on your absolutely on which cannot other refer not yet downloaded. This can cause problem because other object that you do not see might not. Oh, I see. Okay, so this kind of error, like one building is glued to another building, so yeah, I have to tap the node. I don't know why it's giving me this error message. So yeah, so I'm just clicking like this. I'm clicking maybe this, and I'm saying glue. I'm just clicking the area that is they are glued because this building we are joined together. So I'm just selecting the building, and then I'm pressing G on the keyboard so that to unglue it, because the building were like they were sharing their nodes. So I don't want that kind of error. So you have to be very careful when doing that, because you want to remove this kind of error. I've just selected the building, which I think they share the nodes, and then I'm placing on the G on a keyboard, and it's becoming like different building, yeah. So these are the kind of errors that you have to be very careful when, verifying another person's work, so that, yeah, you can be very careful in doing all of that. So I see another, if there is any other building which are good, no. It's not. So, yeah. And then I'm going back. As I said, there are so many change sets. You can just add them one by one. You can see this is another change set, and there is another one here. It's all steward work, and there is another one here. So you have to take your time passing one by one. And then after that, you have to come to verification there. I've placed the verify, and then I'm going to say valid, and then I'm going to save. This is how you can do verification by using Rovas. You know, this is the very easy way of verifying the project in Rovas. So you just need to open, and then you can see here also another one. Like this was mapped by also Stewart, and they spent like 4 hours and 19 minutes. And if I click on this, it's the same thing. So you have to be very careful when verifying the project on Rovas. You have to, like, the things that you have to take into account is opening the project and look if the projects are well mapped. I mean, the building are well squared, and the image really aligned with the building mapped. And yes, try to remove the errors like the blurred one, like I showed you. Yeah, so to make things clear. I hope in verifying on Rovas, I think I'm clear, unless there is a question on that, how you can verify your project on Rovas. And another thing I want to make, to speak about on Rovas, it's, I think there are people who received the message from Sano. Let me show you one of the messages. I think right now people have worked on it. Like Sano shared with me a message. It was a suggestion actually. People were like confusing themselves on creating their own project. So I think I spoke about this, and people stopped creating their own project on Rovas, and we agree like we will concentrate on the project that I've already created, and people will map those projects until we finish on them, and then we'll create another new project. Yeah, I think already people work on the issue of merging report. If you're mapping the same area, I think you can merge your report, and it can count that if you spend, it will count if you spend like today, but you map maybe around morning, and then you stop mapping, and then you come to map around evening and you stop mapping. So it will count for the day, the time you spend to map on the day, and it will merge all the work report in a single day, so that it won't be like a report of every single time you mapped. Yeah, so I think that will that is the issue that Sana was sharing with me. And I also think there are people who were suggesting like they are facing a different challenge and they want to share their screen so that I can try to to help them sort out while sharing their screen the challenge that they are facing when using Rovas and maybe other also challenge. But that was one of the challenges I want to share with you guys on how you can do verification using Rovas. And I hope I'm clear. If there is a question, please, you can ask. You're welcome. Okay, so Stewart, I'm going to show you how you can edit the building, circular building. Okay, for the beginners, it's always easy one. I'm just going to draw here because I don't see any, I'm not seeing any circular building, but you can just always take this, and I'm assuming there is a circular building here. So I'm just drawing it here, and then after completed it, I'm going to place O on the keyboard, and it's becoming circular. So you have to select a tag of a building. I think that's a very easy way, but I think I will share with you the shortcuts on how you can, draw when you're going to advanced mode. You can change this to circular, but yeah, I think this is the easy one. You can just take this and let me delete it. Yeah, so you can just take this. And then place all, and then select. You see it's becoming circular and target as a building. Yeah. So that's a very direct way of, you know, mapping the circular building. Yeah. Please, if there is any question, you can ask. For the people who wanted to share their screen, please, so that we can discuss about the rover issue, and then we can go to the challenge that are people facing when, you know, mapping some of the objects. Where the border? Yeah. Yeah, so welcome guys. You can, I think, somebody want to share screen and share their problem, please, you're welcome. I can stop sharing my screen so that you guys can share, or you can, you know, write on a chat so that I can help you. Yes, I totally agree. You can use the, as I said, for the advanced mapper, because for the beginner, if you are using, it's your first time using this, so for beginners, it's a little bit tricky, you know, yeah. Guys, I mean, some of you wanted to share your screen and share your challenge that you are facing when you are mapping by using Rover, and someone also mentioned that you wanted to share okay, so so some of us, it's square building as a circular building. What can I do? Yes, really, you have to. I mean, you have. I mean, by the way, okay, let me go back there. Yes, you really have to redo the mapping of the area that you map the building as. Let's try this. Maybe I map this as a circular, and I want it to be to be square. So I will delete some of the, you know, I will just do like this, and I will try to make it as square as I can, rather than just deleting all the features, and then I will tag it as as a building. Or I think that's, yeah, that's also another thing. If you also map some of the, you know, some of the circular building as a square, you can also try to add some of the nodes to each these corner points and try to minimize it to make it as a circular as you can. And then I can select the whole and try to put it as circular as I can in that place or on the keyboard. So that's a very easy way to, you know, to do that. You can delete some of the nodes to make it square. And also you can add some of the nodes to make it circular. So without deleting the whole, you know, building. Okay, is there any question regarding Rovas before I move? Because some of the people wanted to share their screen and show the challenge and the message that they're receiving from Rovas and how they can handle it and how we can tackle it, things like that. So, no question?
There's some questions in the chat, Herry.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a very good question. Also, I think Emma addressed it earlier. So we normally encourage people to not delete some of the initial mapped, but so what we can do is normally try to let me show you. What we can do is try to move one by one. I think that's a very it's very difficult to move all the building at one place, but you can select all the building, but it's also very challenging. Like if we select this kind of building and I just want to move the, sometimes it's a little bit challenging. You can select all of this and try to, to square them as you can. But to move them, you have to select, it's really tedious, but you have to do that. So you have maybe, you have to move the feature into, let's say like this, because if I select all of these, then I want to move them, like this, it's a little bit difficult. You have to be very, very careful doing this. Because I can select all of this, but it's very difficult to move all of this feature into a certain, so that they can all align. So it's really, really very, very difficult, So what you have to do is you have to spend your time moving them without you adding the new building. You just have to, you just have to move them one by one to make sure you are trying your level best not to delete the previous features. As you mentioned, like you can see other building when you are trying to move some of those buildings, you can find that maybe you are connecting with the nodes of the initial building that you are trying to move to another area. It's been like this. They are contacted to one another, so you have to be very, very careful. Do not, if you see the area mapped already and you want to map that area, please do not map the new building. Try to move those initial maps, the initial building that they were there to align with to align with the satellite image. So we should really avoid deleting the initial building at those places. We should try to focus on moving those buildings to align with the satellite image that we are using, because as Emo said that the initial map was marked, but they were using the different satellite image, which the satellite image we know that they are using a current one. So that's why you can see the shifting of the initial mapping with the satellite image that they are currently using. So it's better to be very careful. Okay, another point is like in some tasks, once you move a building to correct one, just leave a sign as there is something there. It leave a shape like a black color. Does it affect anything to do with it? I'm emphasizing on not deleting the features, the buildings. I'm just emphasizing on moving it, because with time goes, maybe some of the area where they were building, but that building right now is not currently available. That's why it doesn't show in the satellite image, the current satellite image that you're using is available. So you have to be very, very careful. Yes, it can show the sign that there was a building there, because things are changing, and you know, people are building, people are constructing new building, you know, and yeah, maybe some building become, you know, they become distract. People are distract. You know, people are building another. They are constructing another building. So the previous one are like they are not there, or something happened to them, maybe. So we have to be very, very, very careful when doing that. I'm just encouraging you guys to not delete some of the initial building there, because this initial building can be used for other research. Let's say like the person want to see how far the things have changed, and he want to use some OSM data of, you know, maybe 2010 compared to the, you know, the data of 2022. So he can see like the adjustment of those building, the data from that year and to this year, and we can see the displacement of this and the changes that happen, you know, some sort of stuff like that. So I'm encouraging people to not delete those pictures. Like you can see here, let me show you, I think here. So you can see here, when a person deletes this picture, it has, it reads the history, like a person deletes this picture, which if the person open it with a JOSM, it can't show, like, it cannot show this, the area which is deleted. But in OSM share, it can give you the history of the place, like the person who mapped this. And if we verify this area, it means the area deleted will not be visible, but it can keep the history of the place where it's modified, like you can see here. I mean, this was modified from this, you know, this was modified from this. So it's keep that history, like the modification, but it deletes the history of all the features that you deleted. So we have to be very, very careful when mapping the area. Did I make myself clear? Or still there are some people with, you know, question?
Hi, Herry.
Yes.
So I still have a question on this end.
Welcome.
So probably, let's say the area, I've done the squaring of the buildings, I've moved the buildings, and I've ensured like every building appearing in that square box that I'm mapping has already been mapped. But unfortunately, I find that among the buildings that the person had mapped initially, there's an extra shape of the building that is not accommodated for. So how do I go about that building?
Okay, if you first, let's say, can you share your screen and share this so that we can speak on something that we can see? Because
so like I don't have it right now, but I experienced it in some of the projects that have already been completed.
okay, let me share my screen so that we can be on the same page. Like, let's say, yeah, let's say this is the project, right? Yeah, so maybe you map this area, you shifted the area to this, right?
Yes.
And you said?
So like, for example, now the building that the red one you have there.
Yes.
Like it's not accommodated for, like it doesn't fall under building in that area, and all the buildings have been mapped. So what do I do about that polygon? Maybe I call it a polygon.
Yes, maybe you have this polygon and another polygon is there, right?
Yeah.
So you have to delete this. The one, you know, there is this, you know what's happened to this kind of cases, like when you selected your area that you want to map, right? The square that you want to map, and another person selected another square that you want to map. But the challenge comes, another person mapped until outside of his boundary. So he went to another person's boundary. So at that point, you can find yourself map the same building at the same point. So what I can help you on that, you have to check the history. I mean, the order of the person who mapped those buildings. You can see. You can just activate the window of order. Like let's say I'm activating the window of order to see the person who mapped the area. When you select that building, you can see the order of the building, and you select another building, you can see the order of the building. I mean, the person who mapped the area. But if you can get the history, sorry, if you can get the history of those buildings that are added or polygon, it can be very easy for you to make a conclusion, to make a decision, whether to delete to delete one, or yes, whether to delete one, because some of the, as I told you, make sure that you only map your only square selected in the tasking manager. Do not go beyond your square. There are some cases that will allow you to delete. That's why we are always telling the mapper to not map outside their square, because in JOSM, in JOSM, it's very easy because it's shared all other, it's only give you the concentration of the area that you're supposed to map. But when the person is using ID editor, they just give them the boundary. But it's also allowed them, if they map outside, they can map even outside that boundary. So it's create this kind of scenario, like one building is mapped with 2 people. So in that case, if you are a validator or if you are mapping the same area, you have to check the order of those buildings and to check the history of those buildings to see which one was currently and which one was previous. So you can delete, you can delete the current one and modify the previous one. Did I make myself clear on that? Mary, did I answer your question?
Yes, it's now clear. Thank you.
Okay, is there any question regarding this? Okay, and also I think there are the things that I have to to make clear on mapping. I mean, we normally know that yes, we want to map as many buildings as we can, but we just don't need the quantity of the data. We really need the quality of the data. I mean, there are some of the errors and challenges that people are facing, like people are mapping the building without squaring them, and people are like, somebody just map like this, the area doesn't really align well with the building, and just leave it like this without squaring them and everything. So you have to, when you're mapping, you have to, spend your time thinking and making the right decision. Let me try to select one of the, one of the areas so that I can show it very clearly so that all people can understand the point that I'm trying to make. Let's say, yeah. Yep, let me. It's gonna take some seconds. Yeah, let's say I'm selecting maybe this area. Yeah. So I think it has a road, so it's very easy, you know, to know where the buildings are and everything. You can see most of the, I mean, so people are confusing some of stuff here. You can, you know, some of the area that we are mapping are rural area. And most of the rural area, the buildings are not that dense, right? So we have to be very, very careful when mapping this area. You can find maybe you're mapping the rocks. You can see the rocks and think like maybe there's a house, you know, but you have, maybe there's a building, but you have to be very careful when making, you know, when mapping the area. You have to, you know, you have to think for yourself, like, okay, if there are household or building at maybe this area here, let's say maybe this area here, at least there could be maybe the unmarked road that show there is the connection for people to move to that certain area. You know, I suggest people should try to, you know, to try to interpret map, their satellite image and see and look very clearly and be, you know, be very judgmental when making a decision, because you can see here, mostly, you know, if you can see the main road and you can see the household or building, there is always small path or road that take you to that building. So just don't just mark, as you can see here, this building is very far from the road, but there is a connection. Like you can see, there is a connection. There is the path or road that takes you, does take you to, you know, to that building. So that's where you can start, you know, map, you know, the building and see, okay, I think there is a building in this area. You know, so you can see like maybe here it look like a building. Does it look like a building or it's a building? You can, you know, you can be very, very, you have to be very good on, you can zoom to the level and repeat it to see if it looks like a building. Or for me, I can see it has like a corner points, you know, it has 4 corner point. So you should, as a mapper, you have to be very, very careful on this kind of scenario. Just do not only just map to have, you know, a large number of the features that you map, but you have to be very careful when mapping these buildings. I see there is very small building here and there, but I'm not very sure if this building still exists or what, because, you know, yeah. So, and also remember when you map, make sure you square the features to make it place Q on the keyboard to square it. Do not just map and leave it unsquared. I think there is also a building here. And square it just like this. And when I move around, I don't see any other building close. Okay, here it is. Because I can see here there is a road that connects to this building. You know.
Harry?
Yes?
I have a question.
Please, go ahead.
I just heard you tell us that those small roads, the small paths that lead to the building, so should we map them or should we not map them?
Come again, please.
The small paths that lead to the paths, the
yes,
road.
The path. Yes, this is the main road.
Yeah. Now those paths, for example, the ones that are distinct, should we map them or should we not?
Should we map should we map the building or path?
The path, the ones, especially the ones that are distinct.
No, do not map the path.
Okay.
If it's not required on the project to map, if it's required you to only map the building, just map the building, forget about the path, because I think the road and the path is a little bit challenging. People need to have, you know, when we have those kind of the project of mapping the road and everything, we will, you know, show you guys on how to do that, but concentrating on the instruction given on the project. Yes, Carolina, I can see you. Do you mind if you are very close to your computer, can you, yeah, I think we're out of time, but we also have, I don't know. There are a lot of questions, Janet. So what should we do? I mean,
that's okay. I know we have another call soon. Also, I just wanted to ask people, have you been going to the hot OSM sessions? Because if not, please do. Any feedback from any of them last week? Did anyone manage to go to any? No? Okay, well, if you didn't, I've put the link in the WhatsApp group again, so please do try and catch up on the recordings. It's up to you, Herry. I need to drop off now, but if you want to continue for a bit, I'll leave it running.
Yes, I'm just going to continue for a bit, just because I'm gonna take like 5 minutes to address this. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. So Carolina, yes. Too bad. Let me go back to my rover. Too bad is that I was waiting for that, you know, because all the message that I have on my rover is just, it has the link for OSM share. So I was expecting maybe if you are close to your computer, you can open that with the API with the opening in the API format, so that I can at least show you. I was waiting for this day, but the funny thing is they didn't give me the project that it has like the API format. All of my project that they require me to verify it is in OSM sharp. But I think if you open those projects which are on the API format, if you click those features, it gives you an option of downloading them into a JOSM, which you can download and see how they align and how the person mapped those projects. I'm not sure if you try that way, but can I find maybe another time so that we can have this call and show you, maybe you can share your screen so that we can be on the same page, because for today on my side, I just have all the projects that require me to do verification in OSM Sharp. I don't know if that works for you. Can you confirm that if it's worked for you, Carolina? You're quiet, because I just wanted to address that thing for you, and because we are out of time, yeah, okay, Yeah, so I think I will reach for you, and maybe we can do even this today later and see how we can fix that. Yeah, so right now you can share your screen. Yes, please do, please do. Let me stop sharing my screen. And yeah, please share your screen. Sorry, Janet, we are going to take more than 5 minutes so you can drop and let us go. I think I will join you guys later in the meeting. Thank you. open it. Okay, so can you go to one feature like that building? Can you click on that building? Light quick. No, okay. Can you please click on the relation here? Check it. Check it, yes. And try to load. Yeah, so you see, like, okay, so that's fine. Come to features here, come to this feature here. So when you click, it's give you like, you can select it in what? In JOSM or ID editor, okay? The funny thing is that you have to select one by one to open them on JOSM and see how it's well mapped, and then you have to go back to Rovas and to verify those kind of stuff. If you say you select or load, if you opened, just go select here, it can open automatically into JOSM. Yeah. I think you just need to click and open your JOSM. Make sure your JOSM is running on the background so that, you know, can link. I think you have to just select single time and see what happened. Does it hit open on a JOSM? I think it's like loading. I mean, you can also check it on ID editor. Yeah. You see, you can see if the features really well, you know, and you can see the person who mapped the area, you know. So you have to put the background image, like you have to check. I think the project wanted to use Maxa, so you can, you know, but I definitely know that you can load it into a JOSM. You see it. So you can really load them, and for you, you don't need to do anything. You're just loading them and make sure that all the features are really well mapped, and then you're going back to Rover, you know, and place on verifying it. If you can see the, you know, the whole area well, you can see the building are well aligned. If the building, like, you can also see if the corner points on those, I mean, they are squared and everything, such kind of the thing, and yeah. If you don't see any other feature, you can click on those features that you want them to appear there and see how it look like. You just have to deal with all of them. Like you have to deal with, yeah. Is it clear for you now? So if you think like everything were mapped quite correctly, you go to Rovers and you go to, you know, verify them. You drop out, I don't know. Did you understand? Is it clear now? Thank you very much. I think it's been a problem for you for a while, and I'm happy today I sorted it out. So yeah, so thank you very much, all of you, for joining us today. And I wish you best of luck with you learning the new stuff of mapping, and have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm just encouraging you guys to keep on mapping. See you next week.
Bye.